day. Very good. And then we have Irma Ortiz. She is our new admin assistant. She is doing a wonderful job. She brings her skill set. She's learning the ministry, and she's fully applying herself. You can see the love in her service, and she has been an amazing addition to the vocation office team. And we have Sharon Menendez, who helps me with the seminarians. So she's our admin assistant on that side of the office. She helps coordinate tuition, books, doctor's appointments, all these things to help keep our seminarians on track, make sure that they're taken care of, that they bring any issues, that we're able to accompany them to the best of our ability, knowing that she plays an integral role in taking care of our current seminarians while Sister Anna, us, Cecilia, Irma, and I work to bring in more seminarians. You can go to the next slide, please. I want to share with you our mission. Our mission is the universal call to a life of holiness and service is made by God to all the baptized, single, married, ordained, and consecrated. While the Archdiocesan Vocation Office values all vocations, it is commissioned to provide resources and discernment opportunities that promote and cultivate vocations to ordained and consecrated life, with an emphasis on diocesan priestly candidates for the Archdiocese of San Antonio. I recently went out to a young adult meeting. It's Abound, and a young man came up to me and says, "Yeah, I feel like God's calling me to be a priest, but I feel like He's calling me to be a religious priest." And I said, "Are you sure?" But it was a good conversation. We just had you know, um, uh, genuine openness, and the best advice I can give him is to really examine the way he prays, the way he experiences God, and then begin to search religious orders that sort of fit that model. And that's the best way that we can accompany him. But if he ever makes the decision to come to the diocesan priesthood, then he can talk to us, and we can get him squared away in that mode of discernment. Our vision is to foster a vibrant culture of vocations in the Archdiocese of San Antonio, where young people are inspired to joyfully discern God's call, and where a growing number of well-formed, faith-filled seminarians are prepared to serve as holy, compassionate, and missionary diocesan priests for the life of the Church. We want to embrace those conversations early on in families where parents are open to asking their kids if they've ever thought about religious life, if they ever thought about being a priest. How much do they love being an altar server? How much do they love volunteering in the church? And seeing if the Holy Spirit is moving them in this direction. We want to embrace this culture of vocations in parish life where other volunteers can recognize good qualities that they want to see in priests, and they see them in these young people, and just ask them, have you ever thought about being a priest? Not in a way that stirs fear or discouragement, but a way of affirming them that they have great qualities and it would be worthwhile to discern priesthood. Go to the next slide, please. And I'll share with you our core values. The first is holiness and prayer. We believe every vocation begins with a relationship with Christ. Rooted in prayer and the sacraments, we cultivate an environment that encourages holiness, interior freedom, and spiritual growth. And this is going to be emphasized and really addressed and further along in their discernment as the process builds upon their current prayer habits and introduces more to help them get more in tune with the Holy Spirit and hopefully flourishes in their time in seminary if they choose to apply. Discernment and accompaniment. We walk with young people in their journey of discovering God's call, providing tools, mentorship, and spaces of encounter that allow them to discern with confidence and clarity. I know that when many young people feel this stirring in their hearts, it, it can come off as frightening because they feel like they're alone. They don't know who they can talk to. Um, they 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 might think that people will think they're weird, but in all honesty, like when we're trying to apply ourselves to discern how God is calling us to live a holy life, those are very healthy conversations, and we're actively journeying with these young people to help them in this, so that they know that they can speak what's in their heart to someone who is capable of listening, capable of helping them discern how the Spirit is speaking, and let them know that they do not have to discern by themselves. That we're able to give these resources to these individuals. We're also committed to excellence in formation. We are committed to raising the quality of priestly vocations by identifying, preparing, and supporting candidates who demonstrate maturity, faith, leadership, and a heart for service. And this is really brought about with our working collaboration with Assumption Seminary, that the current men that are in seminary, they know they're not just being formed as priests, they're being formed to be pastors, pastoral leaders in the parish, to extend Jesus' presence to the people that they serve, and helping them in their lives, and also helping them maintain their health as well, knowing that in order to give, we must receive these graces from God, and we must be able to access all those methods that we're able to experience God in our lives. And that comes with formation in the seminary to help us keep going when times are challenging, that we're still able to experience that joy. Invitation and outreach. We actively cultivate vocations in parishes, schools, and Catholic communities, increasing awareness and encouraging more young people to courageously consider a call to ordained or consecrated life. Within my first month of being the vocation director, I wanted to go visit. We had three seminarians on a summer internship programs in a parish. One was sent to Converse, which for me was a 15-minute drive. One was sent to Fredericksburg. No, no, one was sent to Uvalde. I went out to Uvalde to visit with him, and on the way to U or at after I passed Uvalde, I went to our seminary in Del Rio. And in Del Rio, we just had a simple vocation meet and greet. We had mass with the community, and we invited young people, young men, if they felt like they wanted to speak about priesthood or learn a little bit more, to come to this dinner that we had prepared. And like 7 young men came to this dinner to talk about priesthood. And that told me, well, let's get active in Uvalde. Let's get active in Del Rio. Let's hit up these rural parishes, and offer that extension of our ministry to really focus on all parts of the archdiocese to the best of our ability, to help these young men discern priesthood. I'm also going to trying to set up meetings with some of the local uh, universities. The furthest one I'll be going to so far is Texas A&M next week, because I want to extend the pastoral presence of the Archdiocese of San Antonio to those guys who have gone to Texas A&M, but their home is somewhere in San Antonio. So I'm excited about that trip. My sister went to Texas A&M. I didn't. Collaboration and communion. We work in close partnership with the Pastoral Ministry Center, religious communities, parish leaders, and our lay vocation promoters, believing that vocations flourish when the whole church is engaged. I'm so grateful to all of my brother priests who have reached out to me either through text message or whether in passing, or phone calls, that have offered their support when I was named vocation director. Many of them have said like anything I need, and I say, you know what, just continue to pray and participate in promoting vocations, knowing that they all know that is not my sole responsibility for the increase of vocations to the priesthood. It falls on everybody. In the ancient church, it was the community who said, we want this person to be our leader. We want this person to be our priest. That's how it was back in the day. And engaging in the whole church to promote vocations, it shows that this is truly a team effort, and the vocation office is here to help facilitate deeper discernment to the priesthood and religious life. And of course, last but not least, is joyful witness. We strive to inspire others through the joyful witness of those already living their vocation, confident that vibrant vocations attract more vocations. I am a firm believer that holiness and joy are attractive, that when young men see that their priest is happy and joyful, knowing that many people believe that priests have challenging jobs, which is true. We have challenging responsibilities, but ultimately we know that we are doing our best to bring about God's will in the world around us. And I've said that married life is a beautiful life too. And there's joyful married couples. And that is also attractive. And it just shows that either vocation that we choose, there's going to be challenges, but there's so much more joy to be experienced. And when we exhibit that joy, we're able to show people that life in the church, life in the sacraments is worthwhile, and grace is truly experienced. Want to share with you a couple of the statistics and reality of the Archdiocese of San Antonio. I'm not going to go through all of these bullet points, but I do want to focus on a couple of things. 95 priests in the Archdiocese have two jobs. Many of them are pastors of parishes that have schools. Some of them have more than one parish. Some of them have more than one responsibility. Some of them serve on boards for different organizations. So there is uh, an 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 amount of tasks to be done out there, and priests have multiple responsibilities. 40% of our priests are over 60 years of age. We have to do a we have to do our due diligence to make sure that they are able to enjoy their retirement when the time comes, knowing that we don't have to rely on them so much after they've put in 40, 50 years of priesthood, that they're able to enjoy their retirement because we have priests here who are able to take up what they have put down. And 20% of active diocesan priests were raised in San Antonio. I'm a firm believer that a sure sign that the gospel has taken root in a place in an archdiocese is the flourishing of vocations. That the gospel has taken root in the land, in the lives, in the people, in the communities, in these hearts that say, you know what, I want to continue this mission here in San Antonio. I want to offer myself as a priest. So that is our goal. We are actively focusing on local vocations, knowing that God is calling people in our archdiocese and that it can be a wonderful, wonderful life. To help in this mission, we have four vocation regions and we have four regional coordinators. These two priests, then we have Father Ricardo in St. John Vianney's area, and then we have Father Victor Valdez in the St. Carlo Acutis area. These two are our urban regions. So they handle a lot of the areas in the with close to the city of San Antonio. A little bit on the outskirts, but they're mainly within the city of San Antonio. On the next slide, we have our rural regions. We have Father Matthew de Leon out in the St. Joseph region, and then we have Father Ian Robbins in the St. Teresa of Lisieux region. Father Matthew is assigned to Uvalde. Father Ian is assigned to Fredericksburg, and I was able to go to both of their regions to offer this training for them, and it was, of course, it was wonderful to spend that little bit of time with my brothers. All four of these priests, all five of us, were in seminary at one point together. And it's just a wonderful experience to participate in this ministry with four of my brothers, that we shared time in seminary together, that we bonded together and were able to work together in this mission. And I'm so grateful for their assistance. I want to give you an update regarding our seminarians. So we have new language that we use for the stages of formation. So we have 6 men in our propedeutic year. That is the first year of seminary. It's a year that's dedicated to spiritual and human development, and it's a very foundational year. So, in other words, to think about the propedeutic year, you can think about the scripture passages. Scripture passage that says, "Prepare the way of the Lord." These men are preparing themselves to experience God in this deeper way in seminary formation and gaining the skills necessary to help them move forward in their formation. We have 5 men in the discipleship stage. The discipleship stage is what we used to call college or pre-theology. They're studying philosophy, right? So but this stage is not defined by the academics. It's defined by the stage of formation. Discipleship, they are growing in the knowledge of, "You are my beloved Son, with you I am well pleased." They are growing in this knowledge, getting accustomed to the knowledge that they are beloved sons, and growing in that identity in this stage. We have 9 men in the configuration stage. This is what we used to call theology. But again, the academics does not define the stage does. Configuration is the phase where these men are actively configuring their hearts to that of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd knows his sheep, and their sheep know him. And the Good Shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. These men are actively configuring themselves, preparing themselves to lay down their life for the sheep. And we have 3 in the vocational synthesis stage. These are our transitional deacons. We have Deacon Luis de la Cruz. He is assigned to Fredericksburg and Kerrville. We have Deacon Luis Gomez, who's out there at my home parish, St. Monica. He has the wonderful joy of taking care of my parents. And then we have Deacon Edgar Hernandez. He's out there in Uvalde, out there with Father Matthew. And these are our men. I am very proud and impressed with them. They're actively applying themselves to the discernment process and growing in this process. And God willing, they will be good and holy priests and good and holy pastors. Keep praying for our seminarians.
Thank you, Father Ed. Now, we are here to share with you about the call by name, para hablar sobre este programa, llamados por su nombre, Call by Name. And this is a beautiful and powerful initiative. Call by Name, we want to promote vocations, right? To the priesthood and consecrated life. And this program will help us to do that. And Call by Name is a program that invites men and women 18 years old or older to consider a vocation to the priesthood and consecrated life. This program has been recommended by the U.S. Bishops' Committee on Vocations in their document, A Future Full of Hope, a national strategy for vocations to the priesthood and religious life for the Archdiocese of and Diocese of the United States. And at the heart of this program is the belief that all of us share a common calling through baptism, to which we are invited to respond in a variety of ways: marriage, single life, consecrated life, and ordained ministry. The Call by Name process focuses on priesthood and consecrated life and stresses the role of the Christian community in calling for men and women to consider these vocations. So it's a wonderful program that the community needs to be involved. Un programa muy bonito donde la comunidad tiene que estar envuelta, or the community needs to be on board. And what's the goal? ¿Cuál es el objetivo? The goal of the program is to identify single men ages 18 to 35 in our parish who show spiritual depth and leadership potential and who may be called to the priesthood, as well as single women who may be called to religious life. Parishioners like you, like me, like everybody in the parish throughout the Archdiocese are encouraged to consider who in our midst might serve well as priests or religious and submit their names during weekend liturgies. There are many good prospective priests, brothers and sisters who are simply waiting to be asked. It is only with the collective support and effort of parishes across the Archdiocese that this initiative will be a success. So the only thing we are called to do is ask, pray about it, and just consider who in our midst might have a vocation. We are not the ones who called, it's God, but God uses us as an instrument to call others to consider the priesthood of consecrated life. These qualities can help us to decide if we submit a name or not. Qualities that are very clear. For example, a young man or women with self-confidence, confident and emotionally well adjusted, que tenga confianza en sí mismo y equilibrio emocional. Sacrificial spirit, espíritu de sacrificio, a strong relationship with God, healthy interpersonal relationships, openness about faith, leadership and collaboration skills, desire to serve, joyful and personable, approachable and compassionate, commitment to the church. So probably not all of them will have these qualities, all the qualities, but maybe I know John, for example, John from Our Lady of Grace. John is a young man who I have seen him serving as an usher, as a lector. He is very faithful. And I will ask John, I have seen you around in the church. Have you ever thought about the priesthood? May I submit your name through this program? So the most important thing in this program is that you create a relationship with the name, with the person, the young man or woman you will submit. You cannot submit a name if you don't have a relationship, but at least you ask that person. Father Ed put an example that to me was very clear. Father Ed said, "Oh, it's not possible if I see a young man like always in the corner." And I said, he's attending Mass daily. I will submit his name. How about if that young man is about to get married? Or how about if that young man, I don't know his name. So we need to approach his personal relationship. So I will ask Irma to continue, please.
Sure. Okay, so how do we start the preparation phase? So here in the preparation phase, the pastor will need to discuss the program with the parish staff and the staff or the parish vocation ministry, which is a PVM. He will also need to appoint a program coordinator the PVM coordinator or staff person. He should ensure that there is enough sufficient copies of the call by name response cards in the pews prior to the launch of the program, and to make sure that they're being replenished as the weeks go by, the next 4 weeks. He will need to coordinate the program with all parish groups who minister to 18 years of age or older. And the pastor will need to help to display the call by name vocation poster somewhere within the parish or somewhere where it can be visible to all parishioners. And then also, he'll need to provide a bulletin editor with materials for the parish bulletins for the weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next slide, please. So how does the call by name initiative work? So it starts with the pastor forming a team. He has to identify a parish coordinator and assemble a team. He'll also need to prepare his team. The team will prepare the materials and print and use the resources that we have available in our San Antonio Vocation website. So if I take you here, and let me see if I can share my screen, sister.
Yes, but I need to stop sharing. Let me.
Oh,
Yes.
unless you want to pull it up.
Mhm. Yes, you can do it. You want to show the website?
Yes, I'm trying to get to the website. I don't know. Can y'all see my screen?
No, but I can do that, Irma.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the website.
Mhm. So if you go to the San Antonio website, you'll come over to the tab that says the call by name, and then you will go to that screen there. And then all the resources that you'll need will be available to you there. We have the regions that were discussed earlier. You have all the parish resources, both in English and in Spanish, that you can download and self-print. We will also have, they have all the promotional materials also for the print to order form, which is something that you can use for the Smith print. So that if you don't want to incur the cost at the self-print, you can also submit that print order to Smith Print, and then they'll help you out there. There's the brochures, the response cards, and then you also have we have some additional prayer cards. We have the bulletin, the homily, talking points. There's even a letter to the sample, a sample pastor letter, excuse me, that can be used and that can be editable. And then we have the recommendation form at the bottom there as well. The recommendation form is when all the names have been vetted and it has been screened, you will complete that form and then they will present that to the vocation office. Okay, so then if we go back to the slides, please. So once we have that, so the team prepares with all the resources, then the parish will launch the program the week of October the 19th through November the 9th. Here, during this time, they will collect, review, and the parish will follow up. So they will gather the response cards collected either by the collection box, or if they have a box that they have set up for the collection, or they can also take the response cards to the church office. The pastor and the team then review the submissions, they screen the names, and then the pastor will then follow up with the letter. To submit to the vocation office, you will have to forward the names to the vocation office on that form that was mentioned on that San Antonio site. And then there you can provide that to us and we will follow up with them. The office will also follow up with the regional vocation coordinators to help with the initial follow-up on their part. Then the regional follow-up will have invite them to discernment opportunities here at the seminary or in their regions. And this is to help them with any other, they're going to be encouraged to start some kind of programs within their region so that they can accompany this person. Okay, and then, so here's the timeline. The timeline for the presentation. So here we have, let me see here. The first week is October. So right now we're in the preparation phase, which is from now to the 17th. Here is where the team will help with the downloading the information, the resources, and have them ready to go. The pastor will identify the parish coordinator, print the sufficient copies and brochures, response cards, have those ready to go, and then place the brochures a few days prior to the launch of the first date, which is going to be October the 18th and 19th weekend. You'll also have to give the bulletin editor material for the future bulletins. So then we have week 2, which is going to be October the 18th through the 19th, and this is a launch date weekend. So in all weekend masses, there's going to be the vocation homily, the intercessions and music that's provided. There's some examples in the resources on our website. They'll confirm that the bulletin editor has the materials for the week's bulletin. There's also a bulletin and pulpit announcement from the lay promoters. And that leads us to the following weekend. So week 2, October the 25th through the 26th at all weekend masses. Again, we have the vocation homily, intercessions music, the response card to be replenished in the pews, and then collected as well. And then confirm that the bulletin editor has the new materials for that week in the bulletin. And then that leads us to week number 3, which is November 1st through the 2nd, all weekend masses. Again, we have the vocation homily, intercessions, and music. Response cards are to be collected, replenished if necessary, and then confirm again that the materials for the week are in the bulletin. So the last week would be week 4, November the 8th through the 9th at all weekend masses. The vocation homily, prayers of the faithful, and music is provided in our website as an example. And then we have, we will then collect all the response cards. You can replace them if needed. And then they confirm that the bulletin editor has the promotional materials for the weekend. Please remind all your parishioners that this is the last week to return the cards with the names of the nominees to either the collection box, whatever method they have at the parish office to collect these names. So then what will happen is we'll be following a screening and a follow-up. The pastor and the team that he has selected will screen the names. The pastor will then follow up with a letter to the candidate. The parish coordinator and the team collect the candidates' names, and then they will provide that on the nomination form that's going to be sent to the vocation office with the deadline of January the 31st. We extended it to the 31st just because we know that during this last week, November the 8th, we're including the break for Thanksgiving, Advent, Christmas. So we're giving them to January 31st. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to wait till January 31st. If you have the names, we encourage you to submit those after they've been screened and the process has been collected and completed. And then you submit the form to the vocation office. Once we receive the names, we will assign them according to their vocational region and forward the list of names to the regional coordinating priests. And then the follow-up. This is the last step here. We will then follow up with discernment events and other retreats that are going to start in February of 2026 by the 4 regions and the vocation office. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Well, before we open it up to questions, I want to address some frequently asked questions.
Okay.
The program, we are stating like 18 to 35. Well, a frequently asked question is, what about teenagers? What if they're 15, 16, 17, they show strong signs? Well, I mean, there's just a little bit more red tape. You know, we got to get the parents involved, get their consent to communicate with their sons or their daughters. But we do have vocation events specifically for high schoolers, so it's not an impossibility. There's just a little bit more red tape behind it because we're committed to maintaining a safe environment and not violating any boundaries. Another frequently asked questions: what kind of discernment activities do we have? In February, we just planned our Andrews dinner, where ideally the pastor brings the discerner to a dinner here at Assumption Seminary. Archbishop confirmed that he will be present, and it's a dinner to talk more about the priesthood. We also have the Life Awareness Discernment Retreat, also in late February. And then we have an ongoing Melchizedek project once a month, first Thursday of the month during the school year. We have a discernment weekend programs. And so there is a progressive deepening of discernment activities that we have. But the initial ones are going to be the Andrew dinner and the Life Awareness Discernment Retreat. And then we plug them in, funneling them down closer and closer to seeing if they feel inclined, if they feel called to apply to seminary. So those are two of the frequently asked questions.
Okay, so then this concludes the end of the presentation slide, and we'll stop recording at this time. We ask that you remain connected so that we can continue with the closing prayer and final blessing and our question and answer session.